Hello, everybody. Welcome to June, home stretch, which remember I said that because that's part of what I think, at least some of what we're going to talk about tonight has to do with. Um, Again, welcome to everybody to the June iteration of the monthly ICA call. I'll continue to let people in unless Chris Justice, I could make you a co-host and you could let him in
Yeah, that's cool. Go ahead.
if you wouldn't mind.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Speaking of Chris Justice, we welcome our RMC with us tonight. We've got the newest and sole North American member of Rotary International's Global Membership Committee, Chris Jones. Welcome to him. Welcome to Cassandra from RI staff. Welcome all you illustrious people. We got a wide variety. I see future IA facilitators. I see district governors. I see past district governors. I see aspiring district governors. This is going to be a great conversation. Before we get into it, let me just do a little bit of recap like we always do. And remember, you can feel free to watch the recordings of these discussions, the link to which you find on the Rotary Zones 3334.org website. And it's also on the ICA call playlist on the YouTube channel that the Zone Pair has. As a brief recap of what we talked about last month, we started by thinking back to what it was that we brought home with us from the district learning seminar in Richmond and how we thought that those things that we picked up along the way could help us drive our efforts the remainder of this Rotary year. We also talked about in terms of finishing the year strong, what needs to happen and by when. And then in terms of July 1 and beyond, we talked about who's going to be your person, who's going to be your spark. Has that person already been identified? If not, where do you go to try to identify them? Do you have an idea of who is in that poll to be able to identify that person? And then Mike added the notion of district leadership sending out some sort of messaging to prompt those decisions. Now, turn the clock forward about a month where we were. Instead of being in a better place, we're at best in the same place. Depending on which numbers you look at, we might be in a worse place. So, what I want to do for this month of June is suggest that it's time to roll up our sleeves and ask that we all get very honest with each other. And instead of running some risk that causes some people to be tired of hearing about certain things, I want to instead have this conversation in the framework where it provides an alternative, where instead of being frustrated, we can get excited about what it is that's available to us and what we're going to do with those resources that we have. So, if we're going to be honest, I'd like to talk, at least to start with, in terms of truths. Is everybody okay with that? Head nods, thumbs up.
Mhm.
Right on. Okay. First truth. Based upon the limited success that the numbers show that the zone has experienced this Rotary year regarding the creation of new things, and not just Rotary clubs, but Rotaract clubs, and not just standalone clubs, but companion clubs, and everything under the sun. Compared to recent years past, we are down. For that reason, the Zone ICA team believes it's time to press the reset button as we lean forward towards this next year that starts in less than 30 days. And because it's time to look at this coming year and how we want to go about succeeding in it, I just want to ask the group a few threshold questions before we start talking about any of these things in greater detail. Just by show of hands, how many of you come from a district that has an ICA?
I know we do.
Okay. The correct answer, not that there's ever a wrong answer, but there's kind of a wrong answer. The correct answer is everybody's hand should have gone up because every district has an ICA. Maybe it's because you didn't raise your hand because you don't know who that person is. Maybe you raised your hand or didn't raise your hand because you don't know what that person's supposed to do. But for those of you who raised your hands that you do have a district ICA, how many of those same people know who their ICA is for the district? Hugh Dawkins, Eric, Andy. Perfect. Okay. Few of you. Great, 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 great. Same people raised your hands. How many of you feel that you know what that person's role is within your district? Less hands. Okay, that's not surprising. How many of you that had your hands up know to whom or whom's that person directly reports to with regard to the efforts that they take? Okay. All right, good. About the same number of hands. How many of you are aware that they have regular conversations with the district leadership? Okay, couple. All right, let me pivot a little bit. How many of you come from a district that has someone officially assigned as what Rotary International now requires as being the new club development sub-chair of the district's membership committee? Okay, still a few hands, maybe a few less. How many of you that just raise your hand know who that person is? Okay. How many of you that raised your hand know what that person's role is as that new club development sub-chair? How many of you know to whom that person directly reports? And do you know if they have regular conversations? Okay. All the same things with regard to what we have coined as being the MAP ambassador. How many of your districts have a MAP ambassador? Couple. Okay. Everyone does, just like the others. Everybody has one of those people. Here's the second truth. We should all know, like I just mentioned a minute ago, that Rotary International has implemented these 3 mandatory membership subcommittee chairs, including the new club development one. As somebody who's been doing what we call ICA for a while, and certainly before RI's notion was handed down to us about those new sub-chairs, it feels to me like a very natural evolution for Zone 33, the home of growth in Rotary, to be able to align the role of that ICA person in your district with the new club subcommittee structure instead of, in some cases, operating them separately. Does that sound like something that you can get behind? Yeah, I see a few head nods.
Yeah.
Nobody's giving me any fingers other than the thumb. That's good. That's good. Perfect. Let me ask you a rhetorical question. Do you think that your district's leadership benches are so deep that your district plans to have several people serving in those zone roles instead of maybe just one person who is the ICA and who is the new club development? I mean, do we all agree that those things are very similar as far as what they're tasked with doing? It's about, okay, great. If each one of those things is about promoting membership growth and each one's tasked with exploring and creating new things, does it not sound more efficient for those things, which really are the same thing, to be approached by the same person?
And if I need another package sent, will they do that?
Brian, that's a great question, but I don't think you meant to ask the group that one. All right, back to the discussion. What if, imagine this, follow me down the yellow brick road. What if we had one cohesive network?
All right, thanks.
He's on the phone. What if we had one cohesive network and funnel of communication, if you will, so that every district knew what was happening within it? Nobody was duplicating someone else's efforts, and we were able to show measurable positive results of those efforts. Sound good? Sound like something you could work with? Third truth. Wouldn't it make sense that each district has that one point person who is carrying out the directives of the district and its leadership regarding membership, and perhaps even be vetted to serve as the ICA, which is a zone committee, or perhaps even become more familiarized with the process that has been proven to work when the steps are followed through the club creation team? Is there anybody, show of hands, and again, be honest, you're in a safe space. Is there anybody who would be against that? I see no hands. Perfect. Anybody have reservations about taking the time together this evening to explore the possibilities of establishing that kind of a pathway? Because let's continue to be honest. Here's the fourth truth. Zone 33 has a long-standing reputation as the strongest zone in the world for innovative club advocacy, companion clubs, impact clubs, overall club innovation. And much of that momentum around innovation and new club development across Rotary has historically originated right here in Zone 33. Does anyone know among the North American zones how we rank this year as far as new things created? The answer is last. Sorry to be the dark cloud of truth, but we are last. Since innovative club advocacy came around, we were at the top or near the top until this year. Certain information shows that there have been 5 new clubs created since July the 1st of this year. As compared to last, we had one district alone create twice that many by itself. So that's to the extent of how we are down. But again, I don't want to frame this conversation as doom and gloom. I want to find ways that we can get inspired, because I want it to feel less about creating something new and more like formalizing what this zone has proven to be able to do exceptionally well. And I don't know where I heard this. I'm pretty sure someone else said it first. I am not proposing that we lengthen the runway. It's long enough. I'm suggesting that we find ways to get greater lift using the length of the runway that we already have. We don't want to resource each other to death. We don't want to overwhelm each other with possibilities. We've got the tools and the people and those with the expertise and the knowledge and the experience, and many of them are right here on this call right now to make this happen. With that said, before we go down any other pathways, I don't want to lay too much on top of anybody, but I do hold this out as being something new that we can consider trying. One of the ways that the ICA team thinks that it could be possible is if, instead of having a July meeting right on the heels of the international convention and everything else that goes on in the month of June, take the next 45 to 60 days, and each one of the people on the Zone ICA team reach out to 2 or 3 of the districts and have direct conversations with at least the district governor-elect and maybe others that are involved in the district leadership in terms of membership, and find out what the plan is and explore ways to make it more successful. Find out if you've got a district ICA. Find out if you only want to have a new club development person. Find out how that matches and mixes with the other efforts that are membership oriented. But have a plan, and have a well-defined plan, and have the wheels greased, and have lots of conversation and communication about it, so that the efforts that we put out aren't just spinning our wheels, but are producing measurable results. Does that sound good to everybody? Is that something that we can talk about a little bit? Let me throw this out. And I want as many people to talk a little about what it is that they've heard, what they're thinking, what it is they want to do, what they think will work, what maybe won't work based on what you've tried before. I just would love to hear some dialogue, the way people think about just getting focused and intentional and working smarter and not harder.
Don't make us raise our hands up and down anymore. We'll get carpal tunnel.
Okay, fair enough.
That was like, I mean, we were flapping.
Well, it was designed to be very informative that way, and visual. How many visual learners do we have, right? I mean, I am for sure. So what are your thoughts about that? Tell me where you think that can work. Tell me how you think that can work.
We talked about this last year.
There's got to be plenty of people with idea. Mark Milby, I see your hand. Go ahead.
Yes. Well, right now we having a big transition in the district, new membership chairman, which is a whole lot better. And we've already we initiated some conversation today about building this team. And I have a lot more confidence in who is going to be the chairman this year than I have seen in the last 2 years.
Well, I mean, everything's got a shelf life, right? Even the person with the best ideas, unless they're exceptional, is not going to be the person that continues to have all the good ideas. That's how we bring new people in, right? New experience, new thoughts, new energy. So that's a great example, Mark. Thank you for sharing that. Who else has got an idea? Mike, go ahead.
Okay, so first of all, I think the discussion, or kind of to frame it a little slightly differently, is Rotary is asking us to have a front door attraction person, or the district membership chair. Then under that, a front door attraction person, a back door engagement / retention person, and then a new club development person. And our zone is unique in that we've had an innovative club advocate role for the 5 or 6 years before Rotary came up with this. So part of this is the ICAs have historically been vetted, if you will, and blessed by the zone team, just so they knew what they were getting into and what the expectations were. The new club development person that serves kind of the same role that the Rotary is asking everybody to do now is someone that's selected by the district governor. And so part of this is just to make sure someone from the zone is talking to the incoming district governor so that that can be the same person because they're really fulfilling the same role. And just so both sides have clarity about the role. And then I think it's a great idea, Sean, to formalize the relationships between us on the zone ICA team and, like you say, 2, 3, 4 districts in the zone so that we become the liaison and an ongoing sounding board throughout the year for that district, for that DG, for that district ICA, to the DMC, for us to have ongoing conversations with them from the zone standpoint and to make sure those relationships are formalized throughout the year.
Thank you, Michael. Who else? The first rule of facilitation is you don't pick on people, but you know me, I'll do it anyway. Eric and then Andy.
So we've got 4 clubs currently working with the ICA team in that they've had at least one meeting. When I've talked to those clubs, there seems to be a preponderance of people in the club giving resistance or going, well, who are we really looking to attract and why are we doing this? So my next step is to get out there and to overcome those objections because otherwise we're just not going to move those forward. And there's a distinct desire for those clubs to grow either within themselves or by forming an alternate club type that associates with them.
Mm-hmm. Andy, thank you for that. Eric, before I ask you for your comment, Terry Weaver, you may have heard of him, used to say that Rotary clubs come in at least 3 different forms. The clubs that don't have any problems at all, right? Ever visit that club? No problems. Everything's great. There's a type of club that has got all kinds of problems, but they don't care. And then there's the third type of clubs that have problems. They know they have problems, but they don't know how to fix them. And Andy, it sounds like what you're describing is maybe a combination of those things, or maybe you've been to clubs that fit within one or more of those categories. And we can't spend all of our energy pushing the wet rope uphill. You know what I mean? We can't. If you've got no problems and you don't care and you don't want to do anything about it, and my club's just right and the size that it is and it's not shrinking, it's solid. Okay, well then I'm gonna shift my attention maybe over here where these people know they have a problem, they want helped, and I think I'm somebody that can help them with that. Eric Critchbaum, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I like the idea of trying to collaborate across the zone with a larger group to share ideas and maybe facilitate a little bit faster some implementations. Honestly, what I'm still struggling with right now in getting our team completed for next year, I've got some great people already on it. I have not had anybody raise their hand and be willing to be the new club development chair. And we've asked 5 or 6 people that we thought would be, that had street creds. And we even went out with a general, and I copied that idea from one of these previous meetings, a general message to the district. Hey, do you like creating something new? Do you want to be in on the ground floor? That kind of approach. And we just, somebody asked, what does it pay? But anyway, we did offer the same salary that I get. That didn't go very far. So that's something that myself and the incoming district membership chair we're talking about. How do we overcome this? We've had 2 clubs that we've already spoken with that are interested in significantly interested in a new club, like a companion club.
Yeah.
Eric,
Chris Justice put a comment in the chat. Have you targeted successful club presidents with direct asks, which is a great potential solution to your problem?
Well, I've got a note here I've got a few other things I've been taking care of getting ready for July 1st, but I do have a note here to follow up with the membership chair and for us to readdress this, because I went through and I looked at which clubs have shown good solid growth this year, and are we reaching into those specifically? Those might be where we can tap into a club president, for instance. Yeah. But we do have to come up with something. But I just share that because as we continue to I don't know if other districts are having this same kind of a challenge of getting top leadership willing to take on something that is so critical for us, but seems to be something that people are scared of.
Right. Okay. Thank you for sharing that. Patrick Longana.
Well, Eric, one of the things too, I wasn't going to say this part, but I'll say that after you said this. It doesn't necessarily have to be anybody that's ever been like in a leadership position. There are several members on our team. It's more of the personality, somebody that can inspire somebody that can follow the steps. A salesperson, whatever. They might not have ever been president, but they might be the best new club subcommittee chair you've ever had. One of the best people that we have has never been a club president, and she absolutely kills it. She's in Orlando, just muscles it up. So there's just another place to look. The other thing is we're sending out emails to the other DGEs around in the other zones. I've proposed this last year, and I'll propose it again this year. But we're sending out emails to the other DGs and say, hey, your new club subcommittee chair, if you have them, and they're if you don't have them, let us help you identify that person and help train them. And if you do have them, where are you getting them trained? Because right now there is no training for the new club subcommittee chair. So on the North American Club Creation team, that'll be going out, and I'm pretty sure there'll be a large number of district governors that say, yeah. So the way to train them is to go ahead and put them on the team. Make them part of the team. So you have a member on the team, and they learn how to do it by doing it, and then you've just built your bench in your district to, for years to come. So that was the proposal that I had laid out last year that Mike Walker, me and Mike agreed on something. That's the reason why I remember it. We just we're there. And then I had proposed it a little bit before. So, but that'll be going out to the district governors in the other districts. So, but I've got no problem helping with the training if anybody, wants that at all. Because we do it. So, and there's no better training than to just do it.
I'll just add, Eric, and I did this in our district to persuade the person that is our ICA/new club person, is to leverage the North American Club Creation team and the Club Creation app. In the past, an ICA was expected to kind of take it from fruition all the way through to the very end when they were chartered, and that's just a huge amount of work. And maybe they've got two of those a year in them. But if they were to be able to get, if their primary goal was to get someone to sign up for step one in the club creation app, and then have the team sort of take it over from there, then the ICA can be involved as involved or uninvolved as they want to be from that point forward. But allows the role of the ICA or new club person to be more about persuading people to download the app and have a conversation with somebody as opposed to feeling like they have to take it all the way through to the very end. It might allow them to talk to more clubs that way too.
Okay. I'd like to pick on a couple people if I could, because I think there's some other angles that need to be part of the conversation. And I already warned one of these that I might do that. And oh, he's smiling about it already. Good. RMC, Chris Justice. My understanding of your role is not just membership, but everything else basically doesn't fall within under foundation and PI. But in terms of membership, it's not just about growth of existing entities. There's a part of that that talks about creating new things too, because we've seen our international leadership get up and say that Rotary's not going to survive if all we do is grow our existing clubs, at least not as quickly as it could if we grow Rotary by creating new things. Is there anything that you would like to share that you feel is either consistent or if you think it's inconsistent from a bigger membership picture than just creating new things?
Yeah, 100%. And thanks for the opportunity. And let me first just thank you for your leadership on this, this effort. I know you've been doing it for a long time. You're passionate about it. And thanks to everyone on this call. You're all very familiar faces. I know you all to be incredibly hardworking and passionate about what you're doing. And we wouldn't see, the successes that we do see without you all specifically. I wish there were more faces on this screen, because we need more of the yous, in the world, and in Rotary. I think we've all done a fairly good job of defining the problems. And I know the recommendations that come out of this group, and certainly that come out of my team are process based and purpose based. I've one of the things that we've consistently had an issue with, certainly this year, and I think it's true in years past, is, a lack of, and there's no other way to put this, and it's going to seem impolite, and I don't mean to disparage anybody, but we have to fill positions with committed quality personnel. We cannot continue to fill positions with warm bodies. And if it is a warm body for whatever reason, whether it's life has happened or it's just a general lack of commitment, don't know what to do. Upper level leadership has got to be willing to make changes when called for. We have to give the leaders clear direction. And then there has to be the accountability piece. I've heard Sean mention several times, about the metrics, right? Benchmarking. What have we accomplished or not accomplished? So that accountability piece has to be important. And the only way to do that is to have, regular engagement between the players in a district. And far too many districts don't do it. Far too many districts, their governor chains are disconnected. Their DMCs are not, their DMCs are disconnected from the governor chain. And, there's far too many districts that don't have a membership team beyond the DMC. And that has to change. RI has mandated, that every district not only have a DMC, but as Sean articulated before, there are 3 specific positions that have to be filled. And that is incumbent on, number one, the DMC to take control of. But if the DMC has not developed the team, then the governor chains have to step in and make sure those teams are developed. I've said it over and over again that, we are not going to move the needle with P-mail. and we're not going to move the needle with Zoom meetings. We're going to move the needle with door-to-door sales. And, when I say door to door, I mean, we have to make sure that every club has at least a membership chair, because if they don't, who are we communicating with? Who are all those emails going out to? Who are the, map webinar links going to? They're not going to anybody. That's who. Um, we've got to go door to door, making sure that surveys have been done. And in the context of new club creation, if you get a survey back and 5 or 6 of the people in that club that have been surveyed are complaining about the meeting time, what does that tell you? It tells us that that's an area of opportunity for an alternative meeting, right? Or alternative meeting time. So that's why those things are important. We've got to go door to door to make sure they're doing their Discover Rotaries and make sure they understand their opportunities to create new pathways. Now, specific to new club creation, that club creation chair has got to be actively engaged. And I love the dialogue that Sean has started, because it makes perfect sense and there's perfect symmetry in a district level top subcommittee chair that's working on the membership team to be working hand in hand with the North American club creation team. And, to Longano's point, they have the framework. They have the expertise and they're willing to train. So, that to me is a natural synthesis that should be, happening. If it's not, we've got to continue to open new pathways. We've got to continue to look at the Rotary deserts, and we've got to follow the best processes. Longano and I had a pretty long conversation a couple of weeks ago. And I'm really glad we had the conversation, because I think it cleared up, certainly some misconceptions on my part. One of the things I brought up to him is that in 33, we've had, a disproportionate amount of terminations this year, in the innovative club category. And I'm not talking about the clubs themselves going away, although that's happened at a rate I think none of us like. But I'm talking about the member types themselves. And, he understands that. And, his point, which he's made many times before, and I don't think it really connected in the way it connected with me in this conversation. His point was that process matters. We have been really fast to market with some of these efforts, and in a lot of cases too fast to market with them. And I think in many of the cases, the efforts have failed and folded because the best practices weren't followed. And that is something that really the North American Club Creation team has been passionate about, and really tried to button up. Sean and I discussed it a lot as well. And his point is that what is going to make any of the new in a new pathway options successful are the same things that make any Rotary club or any Rotaract club successful. And he's absolutely right. But at the end of the day, it's about support, right? It's about following best practices, and it's about supporting those entities once they've been launched, which is all things that we have to work together on. So I appreciate all of your efforts. I'd intended to primarily just be a fly on the wall. Sean did he did follow through on his threat to call on me. So
Threat.
I appreciate the little bit of time, Sean. And again,
Yeah.
thank you all for what you've been doing.
I appreciate your nod to be part of the conversation too. All right, I saw 2 hands, and then I want to pick on somebody else. Patrick, you, and then Chris Stevenson. I see your hand too.
That conversation was really good. We've had some really good conversations going on here. No matter what happens, you line up behind the RMC. Chris Justice is, and I'm saying this, and me and Chris Justice have butted heads, just like I've butted heads with a lot of people. But Chris Justice is the man that's in charge of membership in Zone 33, and we line up behind him. All of these other wonderful programs that they've had, we've got a good problem here. Rotary mandated that they had the new club subcommittee chair because there's nobody else in North America that does innovative clubs like we do. So they mandated that they had that, and they had to mandate it for the whole group. So we're just doing a little bit of duplication. It's just going to take a little bit of time to kind of line up with what we want to do. You've got strong people that are on this call. Jones has done this for a long time, and if you look at him, a long, long time. And so is Sean. But as you're thinking about that, and I don't know everybody that's on the call, if you're a DG or a DGE coming in, or a membership chair, if you're the ICA, we can all be part of something bigger here and support our RMC and all of our clubs here in Zone 33. So I encourage everybody to continue the conversation and find the best way forward. But building the bench has never been the issue. We just need to build momentum. And if we all row in the same direction this year, I am 100% positive we will build that momentum back. So thank you.
Well said, sir. Chris Stevenson, you put your hand down? Do you still have your question or comment?
Well, I still have a comment, Sean, and I think this is one of those approaches where we need to have a strategic sales type of event, right? Where it's not where we go in and we say, this is what you need to do. We go into a president or club president and we sit down with that club president and ask them, where do you see your club in 5 years, right? Where do you see your club in 3 years? And how do you plan to get there? And if you don't have a plan, let's work together so that we can actually bring some value to you and your club and watch you succeed as well as your club succeed. Right? It's the same tact I would probably take when I'm looking for that innovative club chair. It's not going to be me alone. It's going to be me and probably someone that actually has bought into this. And we sit and we have a discussion and we give them some situations and some scenarios and ask them not to try to take this on by themselves, but to enlist themselves a team of individuals where they can break up some of the tasks so it doesn't seem like such a heavy lift.
Mm-hmm.
What happens is they take this on, it's a heavy lift, and all of a sudden they're burned out. But if we spread it across 2 or 3 individuals, right, then they can take this thing and they can choose it and they can actually consume it like they would an elephant, one bite at a time. Thank you,
Thanks,
Mr.
sir.
Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Governor Morkel, see your hand. Go ahead.
Yeah. I want to say that I can't thank Patrick and his team enough for what they've done for our district this year, walking hand in hand with us. We have our second club charter, first 2 in 10 years. 10 years in our district. And I can't tell you how much of a resource they have been in smoothing the path to RI and overcoming, issues that we've had along the way. Really, really incredible. And I believe that this is the first time in Williamsburg that all 3, the district governors, district governor-elects, and the district governor nominees will actually have Patrick's team in there talking about membership. And I I think that is
his
critical.
square is starting to swell a little bit, Sandy.
No, I really think that's great. And Chris, thank you for that support, because I know it has to go through. I mean, these are things that I happen to be a facilitator for DGs coming fall. And I am grateful that in looking at getting that team on, we had to compete with the DGNs and the DGEs to get their time. So I was so happy to see that, because I remember that was never the case. I don't think Patrick and his team has ever been invited to that particular Rotary opportunity. And I think we need to have them at every Rotary opportunity, our zone trainings, as well as this couple, the Zone 33 and 34 Summit and District Learning Seminar. So I just want to say thank you, Patrick, to your team. Thank you for paving the way, and I hope that everyone takes advantage of what you're offering. But we need to know more about them, and I think that there's just not enough exposure on that a zone level. So thank you for all that
Got
you
it.
guys are doing.
Sandy, thank you. And Patrick, I see your hand, but before we go there, there's something in the chat that opened the door that'll make me feel less guilty about calling on somebody because we've talked about this new club development sub chair, and we heard Eric say he's having problems finding somebody that can fill that role. And Carla actually did me a favor by chiming in, albeit in the chat. I know Cassandra said that she's not really here, she's just lurking. But I would love to hear from the staff perspective on how it is that the districts can feel they are being supported by being helped in finding those people that can serve in those roles and not cause them to feel like they've been dug a deeper hole to find three more people when they already sometimes have trouble finding the ones that they needed before those three new things were created. Carla or Cassandra or both, would you all care to just kind of
Yeah,
shed some light on that? And by the way, Carla, you put a document in the chat as far as a link goes,
yes,
and I want to point that out to everybody. But with that said, please go
perfect.
ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, so the document that I dropped in the chat is actually the district membership committee role document or a quick overview. And this document is actually found within a learning plan in the learning centers that we recommend for the DMCs and the subcommittee chairs to take. Because it kind of shows you how, everything that we do at Rotary, you can sprinkle membership on there. And it also shows how to support some of these roles and some of the responsibilities of the role. I think that, as you say, there are sometimes difficulties in finding people, but I do know that if we're providing the right support for them, whether that is, mentoring them so that they feel more confident into elevating themselves into a different role within the district, or providing some of these resources that might be available. I'm taking notes as to, some of the feedback that I've heard today and some of the challenges that I've heard today, because I think it's our responsibility as staff to advocate for you as membership, and our membership team that is trying and helping and supporting your clubs within the district to grow. So please keep coming with the feedback. I'm taking notes and I'm going to bring it up to my supervisor, Jose, and our manager within the team. I'm not sure if there are other questions or comments, but my recommendation for now is please feel free to always reach out to us. We might not have the answer to you right away, but we will do our best to continue to provide that support. And we're always happy to meet with you to explore, because each district is different, right? Each club is different. So I want to also emphasize that I don't want to come up with just one resource for everybody, because everybody is unique. And then we have to hear the concerns to see how we can support.
Great. Thank you for that. Cassandra, anything you want to add to that, please?
Ditto to everything Carla said. I think she absolutely nailed it. But a lot of really great discussion, I think, swirls around the whole subject. Chris Stevenson mentioned it, making sure that these leadership positions are not overwhelming, creating opportunities to connect, whether it's with other Rotarians in the area or with us as staff. But also can't stress enough how great the Learning Center is. Every Rotarian has access to the Learning Center, regardless of whether or not they're holding an officer position. So please, anybody who's remotely interested in supporting these opportunities, if you can send them to the Learning Center, if you can make a personal connection, or if you can direct them to us, plus everything Carla said.
Cool. Thank you. And I want to add one more thing, and then Patrick, I saw your hit. I'll give you that in just a second. If they want to fire me for saying this too soon, they can, but I know that this to be true, so I'm gonna go ahead and share it anyway. While I'm not suggesting that you wait until October to be doing these things, I can tell you that both Carla and Cassandra are going to be in Williamsburg with us in October. Where's the applause? Yay! Yes, they're going to be there. they're fortunate to come and join us for that week. We're going to be in Williamsburg. So the conversation that might have to end tonight can continue between now and then, and certainly then in person as well.
And
Now,
by then, we'll have an updated resource that, may include more information. So more to come on that. We'll have updated resources for the new year.
I'll go out on a limb, and Sandy, you make sure you're hearing this too, because you're on the governor learning team. I'm going to be chairing the governor's elect again, perhaps for the last time. You can be sure that this kind of conversation is going to take place in those membership-oriented discussions that we're all together in person. So, all right, Patrick, you've been very patient. I appreciate it.
First of all, I just got to tell Sandy, DG Sandy, checks in the mail. Thanks. Appreciate you. No. Hey, Rotary does a really good job at putting some stuff out there, but if anybody clicked on that link that's there, there's 15 minutes on how to form a new club. There's a 15-minute video on how to form a new club. There's also another resource, the 9 steps to starting a new club. How many DGs do we have on the call, or DGEs do we have on the call? Raise your hand. I'm going to start doing that. Ask to raise a hand. Fantastic. How many presidents do you know that gets to 3 or 4 and goes squirrel? You know what I mean? 9 steps. So, I mean, I'm not cracking on that at all. It's good resources. It's good material to have. But the best thing to do is to have somebody that is standing there with you. DG Sandy, now that she's been through the process, she could have done it before, but now she's been through this process, guess what? All we do is ask Sandy, say, hey, can you help the next person through? That's all we do. We go through the process hand in hand with folks, and then we show them how to do it and how to overcome objections to the thing. Who was it that was just on the call, or who was on the call that just said that they were talking with Andy? Andy was. And you got a couple of great people in these clubs that want to grow and want to do something. And then they go back and they start talking, and you have some naysayers in the club, right? So if Andy goes down there, or if you guys, your ICA people, go down there, and they know, and their lips are loaded where that they can overcome these objections and get everybody on the same page and innovative, it starts to move a lot quicker, and people start to go. So there are a ton of resources out there, but there is nothing like hands-on training. That's what these meetings should be. That's what Chris Justice is putting through on a lot of his ARMC stuff. That's what Sean and Mike and this whole team did on several of the meetings last year. We trained, and that's what's gonna move the needle is real hand in hand training. So,
right on. Anything else that you'd like to bring up before we try to start to bring this to a conclusion? Well, I said it earlier in the call. Let me just kind of restate it, or at least repeat it. Over the next 60 days, we're not going to have an ICA meeting in July. We already know that. And that's not because we want everybody to take their foot off the gas, quite the contrary. But that it's going to take an amount of time to get, for those who are going to Taipei and back. July 1's going to come. I hate to admit it, there are other things that a lot of people that are on this call are going to be thinking about along with membership. It's also going to give an opportunity for the Zone ICA team to be able to reach out and have those direct conversations with the folks in the districts about what is your plan? Do you have a plan? Do you know how to spell plan? If you've got a plan, how are you going to carry forth your plan? All those different things that we've been talking about during the call. So that way, when we reconvene this way in August, we'll have all those new things to be talking about, and everybody will feel hopefully better by then than maybe I inadvertently caused people to feel at some point during this conversation. And again, I didn't mean to beat everybody about the head and neck with membership, even though that's why you're on this call, is because you love it and you're crazy like I am. But at the same time, it doesn't hurt to see where we are so that we know what feeling better than that could look like and how we're going to get there. I also encourage everybody that if you haven't, you may want to go to the 3 dots in the top right-hand corner of the chat window and download that thing. Not only are the links that Cassandra and Carla put in there, but there's been some good suggestions. If we had more time, we'd read through all of them, but make sure you grab that so you can at least download a text file of the transcript and have those things available to you. With that said, Patrick, your hand's still up. Is it still up or is it up again or?
No, sure.
Okay, just making sure.
I just didn't lower my hand. Sorry.
Okay. Well, in that case,
He's
as
giving
you
you
all,
a high five.
all right on. Thanks, Mark. I appreciate that. Great, great, great. There are a few things that I want to share with the group as we commonly do at the conclusion of these calls. Can everybody see my screen? Yes. Everybody got that?
Yes.
Great. Okay, here's some things to make sure you put on your calendar if you haven't already. A week from yesterday is June's MAP webinar at 5:30. The theme is going to be the top 10 plays of the year, ESPN Sports Center style. Anybody want to sing the song real quick? Da-na-na, da-na-na. There you go. There you go. Thank you. Thank you. The Monday that follows that, our RMC will lead his monthly call for the DMCs and the stakeholders. As you may know, we are at the end of a 2-year cycle where our sitting director is about to change identities. I know Marshall's got some new things planned for Zoom formation. I don't know what they are entirely. I don't know if it's going to follow the same timing. Chris, you run tech for those. Do you have any more intel about
Yeah,
that?
it's we're going to keep the same first Monday at 1 p.m. So that is going to stay the same. However, it is going to be a tight 30 minutes, and so the format's changing. The format's actually changing a lot, and the timing is going to be limited to 30 minutes.
Right. Okay. And neither do I want to steal Marshall's thunder, but I know that he's got some new, not only ways to approach that time together as Zoom formation, but he's got some great ideas how he's going to promote it and cross-pollinate not just the various parts of membership, but membership with foundation and with public image and do different promotions and encourage not just more people, but more of the right people to attend those monthly offerings that we do online, whether they be Zoom calls and discussions or webinars or what. And then again, you'll see that the calendar jumps through the rest of July, then shows that our next ICA call is going to be on Tuesday, August the 4th. But today is June the 2nd, and I want to share with you that not only is today National Rotisserie Chicken Day, I want to share that today is also National Rocky Road Day. And this one might be the most significant. I don't know. Today is National Leave the Office Early Day. It's already 6 p.m. plus or close on the Eastern time zone. So you may have not had a chance to leave the office early today, but whether you did or you didn't, I would encourage you to go out, have some chicken and some Rocky Road and enjoy your June the 2nd. Anything else for the betterment of the group and our cause?
I left the office early to be on this call, so thank you, Sean.
There you go, Michael. You're omniscient. Anybody else? Sandy's screen's full of hearts. Chris is applauding up through the screen. That's great. Hey, folks, there was some discussion in full transparency whether or not we wanted to have a June ICA call, just because of the time that it takes to prepare it and the time that you all have to donate in order to be part of it, the discussion when we have it. So I appreciate all of you that made the call being here. I appreciate Chris Justice for sharing his time with us. All of you who regularly attend the calls, I thank all of you as well. And especially thank Cassandra and Carla for taking the time after I know what's a very long day anyway, and doing this out of the goodness of their hearts and their membership nerdy brains. So I appreciate everybody being here. You all take care. I'm going to stop the recording. If you want to hang out and talk, you're more than welcome to do that. Otherwise, I'll see you all soon. If you're going to Taipei,